everyone. I hope you are doing great and welcome to the Alice Talk. Today we'll be talking about a pretty interesting topic, which is masculinity. Actually, the person who inspired me to talk about it is a friend who was like, we hear a lot about femininity in the web, but never about masculinity, never about the emotion. We hear about the success, the money of men, but never the depth of it. So today, to discuss this, we have with us an actor, a sport journalist, and also a student of international journalism here in University of Leeds. Welcome with me, Ben. Hello, Ben. How are you doing?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
How is life treating you?
Not too bad. Can't complain. It's almost Christmas.
Yeah, we are almost there. I'm so happy to meet you. I'm so happy you are with us. You were always a man of a voice. I always noticed that.
Thank you.
And it's really interesting. So welcome with us. Welcome. Really.
Very good to be here.
So first of all, I just want to know, as a man first, before a journalist and before as an actor, how do you define masculinity?
I don't know if I can properly. I think it's one of those terms that is now becoming much broader because it can almost be categorized in a lot of different ways. People talk a lot about toxic masculinity in particular. I think there is also a very traditional sense. There is the patriarchal concept of masculinity, which I think to this day is still probably the predominant definition of it.
Yes.
Of how men traditionally behave and think and act. However, of course, luckily, I think we're in a world that is developing in that regard.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. And what are the challenges that comes with this definition? Because it's a pretty heavy definition, to be honest.
It is, yes. I suppose it can be quite restrictive and limiting as well.
Yeah.
It becomes like a placeholder or I suppose just a label.
Yes.
That is of an issue that is far more complex.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I also want to know something because in my education as a woman, and like we are only two daughters, so I was not raised in a family with a male dominance. We have my father, of course, but he was not in the picture a lot. It was only women, so I only knew how a woman is educated growing up. So I heard this a lot. You need to be a good woman via doing this and that and that. I'm just wondering if in your education there is something such as being a good man in the future.
Absolutely. There's the classic when you're a kid, if you're not being tough enough, there's the be a man about it.
Don't cry.
Yeah, exactly. Don't cry. You can show emotion, but as long as it's happy. It can't be sad. By the way, this isn't what my father taught me. This is just a more generalized perception.
Yeah, of course.
I think the be a man trope is very much, it's still around. However, I think people are learning that it's not the be all and end all, that men can cry, boys can cry.
Can have emotions.
Can have, non-happy emotions.
Yes.
It's okay to feel things.
Yeah, it's okay to feel things, indeed. There is another thing that I want to ask you about. In my society, from where I come from, there is this perception that man should be the provider, man is the savior of the family, and this is something that I can also see in the Western media. And look at the games we were playing. There is no princess saving Superman. It's always Superman saving the princess.
Yep.
Do you think it's still present in the Western society? This idea is still present in the Western societies?
Oh, of course. I mean, it's the patriarchy still in play there.
Yeah.
I think the ideas of men being the ones to look after the kids and stay at home is something that is far more socially acceptable now.
Yes.
But it's still less common. There's still the idea of the housewife, of the mother staying at home looking after the kids. My parents both work now and have done in the past. However, my dad was always the primary provider. My mom's took a part-time job in New York just to look after me, so that she could only work when I was at school.
Yeah.
And whereas my dad, worked full-time, and that is still I think that is still seen as the norm. It's not expected so much anymore, but it's still more common, I would say.
It is still present. And
in the
like,
West.
although I lived mile away, far from you, what you are saying is literally describing what I lived as growing up and as a woman and as a child.
Yeah.
My mom would be working. My mom actually was working full time, and my father too. And they will come back home, and I will see my father go watch TV or have some rest and go out, have some time with his friends, while my mother will continue and will continue providing inside the household, giving us attention, working with us, and like cooking and cleaning and everything else. Yeah. At a certain point, it's just not understandable. This is something I have hard time understanding, don't you?
Yes. I think it harkens back to the days of men being seen as the providers, which is a tale as old as time, isn't it?
Yeah.
The idea that physical strength and from testosterone is linked to providing and is not associated with emotional care.
Yes, exactly. And I think it's kind of also linked to the idea of an alpha man.
Absolutely, alpha male.
Yeah, the alpha male who is there, who is like, but we are not wolves, right?
But what is the alpha male? Because
exactly.
Again, that can be defined many different ways. To me, I think today an alpha male should be someone who is far more considerate, understands points of feminism, for example, and equality of all kinds.
I agree.
So an alpha male doesn't necessarily have to be big, strong man that provides for the woman and for his children.
Yes.
And then goes and watches the football in the pub on the Sundays and doesn't hang around with his kids.
Yes, exactly. This idea of like, also like the alpha male, as you said once, this person who thinks that he knows everything. There is no one who knows everything.
No.
So from where this confidence is coming, and is it a real confidence? Is it based on a real confidence, you think?
Honestly, I have no idea.
I don't think so.
Say.
You just cannot know everything.
Yeah,
so how can you pretend to know everything?
Yeah.
You're only pretending at a certain extent. So now let's talk a bit about sport. Since you are like doing a lot of sport journalism, you are very involved in that.
And the World Cup is on.
Yeah, the World Cup is on.
And both of our teams are still in.
We are nailing it.
Yeah.
We are nailing it. Yeah.
For now.
Yeah. Let's cheer for Morocco, huh?
Yeah, you guys done well. You done well.
And for Britain too. Yeah. Let's do that.
You know what? England.
England. Yeah. Sorry about that. My bad. Sorry about that. So do you think in sports male are allowed to show emotion?
Now more so.
Uh-huh.
Because there is very much a movement of, I think, more modern or liberal ideas coming into sports. And we see this now, particularly in the West. High-profile athletes are expected to talk on political and social issues, even if they are not educated. Someone was asking Gareth Southgate recently, the England manager, about the situation in Iran, and he said, look, I am very sympathetic towards it, however, I am not qualified to comment on this, because this is the world we're in. And so I think these particular ideas we're discussing are coming in particular. So, of course, the LGBTQ plus rights are the ones that take a lot of attention in the media.
Yeah.
But I think the ideas of masculinity and men showing emotion is very prevalent too, because still most male sports are far more popular than female sports.
Yes, that's true.
To this day. Even in the ones, even for tennis, for example, where both male and female tennis is shown a lot, still men's tennis is still far more popular.
Yes.
And so it's a very good platform, I suppose, to discuss the idea of masculinity and men showing emotion and feeling things.
Yeah. By the way, do you agree with the statement that would say that since women would be like won't be making a lot of profit in a way or another by contributing to sports, because male sports are more popular, people will pay for the tickets and everything, so they don't deserve equal pay? There is this logic. What do you think about it?
Well, it's a very complex issue because it comes up a lot in tennis, most of all, because men and women are now paid the same. However, in Grand Slams, men play best of 5 sets, women play best of 3, and playing best of 5 sets is physically tougher.
Yeah.
And they're playing for longer, so they're doing longer hours of work, but they're paid the same. So is that fair? I don't know.
Yeah.
And yes, I suppose there is the argument that the men's sports provide far more revenue because they are watched by far more people. They're both attended in the stadiums live, but also watched around the world on the TV. However, it almost feels wrong to punish the women for that, because they're doing their job regardless. It's not their fault. I think it's a far bigger issue as to why they are not followed as much.
Yeah.
I'm glad to say that in the women's football Euros in the summer, people in this country in particular watched it. I think it was like a record number of viewership for women's football.
Yes.
Now, to be fair, you do have to point out that that's partly because England won the Euros, which is a big factor there as well. But nonetheless, I think that is a big turning point. But I can't really answer whether it's fair that they get paid less because they're watched less, because it's not in their control, really.
Yeah. Back to the emotion thing, because it's really important for me to understand the man. I'm discovering the world of man. Do you think, why, I see a lot in football, and I see a lot even in other sports, it is allowed to show anger. It is allowed to show violence sometimes.
A lot of aggression.
Yeah, football players will be literally touching each other aggressively, and it will be completely fine.
Yeah,
completely
not just
fine
aggressively touching each other, though.
Really?
There's a great deal of irony with the issues of homophobia around football, because there's a lot of men hugging and kissing each other.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And it's completely fine in
yeah,
football.
Yeah.
It's complete.
So homophobes are saying it's wrong, but then they'll kiss their mate when Harry Kane scores a banger of a goal. Where's the logic?
I saw this picture of Ziyech and Hakimi. They're
both, bit of a bromance going on there.
Yeah. The bromance was amazing. It's the best picture I ever seen of two men be in this setting.
And they're good guys.
Yeah, good guys. Just succeeded something, and they are in this beautiful moment, sharing these positive feelings, which is incredibly beautiful. I think in my eyes it was just something beautiful. So I want to know something that I heard about, which is the locker rooms problem, especially for kids, who the locker room problem basically is, for the people who doesn't know about it, it's basically kids who will be harassed in the locking rooms, so they cannot even go there any longer. They will put their T-shirts at home and then just put off their jackets because they will be harassed in a way or another in the locker rooms. Yeah. What do you think about that? It's very sad.
Locker rooms are a bad place still.
Really?
I mean, this is on a slight tangent, but there was a reason why Donald Trump, when he got in trouble for some of his comments, passed it off as locker room talk. Because that's kind of what happens there. There's a lot, depending on, it varies so much on the team and the sport.
Yes.
Sometimes if you have a lot of camaraderie, it's fine, especially if it's a more professional environment.
Yes.
However, I remember when I was on the school football team, I used to hate the locker rooms because most of my friends didn't like football. I was the only one who did and played football in the first team.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of kind of more laddish, boisterous sorts there. Seem a lot older, much bigger, more physically developed. And it's quite a scary place at times because I can't really explain it, but there's something about that environment that often brings out the testosterone and the boisterousness more, especially if they're either angry from a poor result or worked up from a good result. You can't win, basically.
Yeah, you can't win. Both scenarios are just
So I wish I had the choice to kind of just put on a jacket and leave.
Really?
But I couldn't at school. I had to put my uniform back on. I had to go back to classes.
Yeah. And what was annoying for you, if you want to share this experience?
I mean, a lot of the comments I can't really repeat.
Okay, I see.
Because it's a lot of stupid kids. Not always directed to me. It's just it's more a general thing.
When you hear it reaches you in a way or another. Even if it's not about you, it's still something that you don't want to hear. It's still something very toxic.
There's no need for it. There was a lot of toxicity, and like I said, there's a lot of problems still with accepting homophobic comments, sexist comments in that industry, and it's just kind of how it is.
Yeah.
It's how it's been for a very long time.
Yeah. I know that it's it's hard to report about harassment. Did you take this step or
No, because it wasn't so bad for me because
if it's not so bad,
well,
then
I was
we
the
don't need to
captain,
do
so
it.
I was lucky in that I didn't get on with them well, but they couldn't really have a go at me because just don't pick them for the next match.
Yeah, it's
but it's more for the others in my team I feel bad for.
It's really you can report about harassment even if it's not like you are not in the picture completely, but you are in a way or another because you are hearing it, you are a witness, so you are in the picture. And it's really hard for women to report about harassment because all of these perspectives, because all of these stereotypes, and what were you wearing,
yes,
and what were you doing, and why were you in this position, exactly, which lipstick sometimes. Like it's really frustrating just to report about harassment sometimes, although it's always the right thing to do. I do believe, like, this is my own opinion. But in your case, for men, why is it hard to hear about harassment and to hear about the lock-in rooms and to hear about all these unfortunate incidents?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think a lot of it relates to the expectations and the ideas that you shouldn't care. That it's almost humiliating or embarrassing to admit that you're affected by the harassment, that it's got to you, that it matters. So I think a lot of it is to do with shame or acceptance. In the same way that a lot of women that are victims of sexual violence and sexual assault don't always come forward and report the crime because it does feel shameful or embarrassing.
Yes.
Or that you are somehow responsible. I think so too. You can say that with men. That it's seen as embarrassing to admit that you care so much and that you're so deeply affected by such things.
The shame is hunting everyone in this world.
Yeah, it is.
It is a serious problem in a way.
It is.
Like, women cannot come forward because of the shame, and men also cannot come forward because of the shame. They would even completely ignore it and neglect all these feelings or what they should do about it, just not to feel ashamed in a way or another, which is very unfortunate. I also have a little question for you. I'm curious again. Just want to know, since you are doing a lot of reporting on sports and you are meeting with a lot of athletes, when it comes to women, I know it's an episode about men, but let's see. Let's see about that. Do women feel the need to adopt male attributes in order to appear more professional in the game and in the sport world?
My answer is I hope not.
I hope not.
It's hard to say because the sad truth is you don't see as much of female athletes. Now, I haven't experienced that happening that often, which I'm grateful for. If anything, it's the flip side that a lot of female athletes get sexualized. Far more so than the men. I can't think of that many footballers that do get sexualized. And the only ones that are the very kind of traditionally attractive ones. With women, it seems far more common. Where the amount of times that I'd have male friends comment on female footballers, and the only reason they know them is because the way they look. There was a famous US football player called Alex Morgan, I believe, who was actually a very good centre forward. She was one of the best in the world. People didn't know her for that. They knew her because of what she looked like.
Oh God, that's
very
sad.
If anything, luckily I don't see it that often. Women trying to appear more masculine to fit in,
which is good.
However, the downside is that because they are, I think rightly so, not feeling the need to act a certain way. Their natural femininity gets almost exploited.
I see. Because from my perspective and how I saw it growing up, that back home in Morocco, I saw that a lot of women would adopt this male attributes.
Really?
Speaking a certain way, talking a certain way, and expressing themselves a certain way. I think mainly the cause of it is because they will be like growing up in these environments where it's dominated by men. But now it's changing. It's really changing, where you can find women like dressing, talking like not that there is a certain code about how women should dress. Don't get me wrong, but they are embracing themselves the way they are as athletes, which is extremely beautiful.
Yeah, and on that note, I would like to add that Sepp Blatter, the former head of FIFA, who is one of the most hated people in all of sport, but particularly football, for various different reasons involving corruption, amongst many others, said that his suggestion to increase audience appeal and popularity of women's football was have them wear short shorts.
Oh God.
That was his big idea.
Oh God.
Yeah.
This is crazy. This is so humiliating. This is so humiliating.
And this was the most powerful man in football a few years ago.
Yes, exactly. Because you don't get the perspective of a woman. You don't get women in power women as head of these institutions in order to get the female perspective and the woman perspective from their experience. Because this is really shameful. Yeah, this is shameful. Yeah, I think we came to an end, but I have a question.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Before, do you have any question that you think I missed, or something that I should have asked you about?
Oh, so I've been thinking about that. I haven't been thinking about my own questions. I'm trying to just answer them. I think something that just occurred to me while we were talking was. So there's a lot of problems with masculinity, and I think the homophobia in sport is very closely related to that.
Yes.
And so there are far more openly gay women in football in particular.
Yes.
So between the combination of sexism and homophobia in that industry, where do we go from there? How do we get out of that one?
Yes. It's
I mean, one is tough enough to battle when you've got both together.
It's even like more complicated.
Yeah, so when we're still in this world in 2022, the end of 2022, and it still seems like there's a long way to go with some of this stuff.
Yes, it is a long way to go.
But there is improvement. That's something else I want to bring out. There has been a lot of improvement.
Yeah, there is always improvement in a certain at a certain point, but still it's not enough. We just want it to be wider, to be more inclusive, to be brighter, to be for everyone, and to allow people to be themselves, to express emotion, to talk about it.
The other one we haven't talked about is racism, which is such a big problem there.
Yes,
and that has seen some major strides forward in the past 3-4 years in sport. Now a lot of it comes down to the individual sports.
Yes.
But that at least so I feel like I don't want to leave it all on a very bitter note.
Yes.
There has been some great strides there. There's still got a long way to go as well, of course, but there is hope.
There is hope, and maybe we'll be discussing racism in sports soon and get to it too. Thank you so much, Ben, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
So much. It was like you gave us a lot of insights about masculinity, about sports, about the games, about sexual harassment, name it. You just tackled it. Thank you so much. Thank you to our audience. Thank you for staying with us, and I hope you liked this episode of LS Talk. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like the content of this specific episode. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ben, for being with us. And I hope one day we will be able to be male and females, living in a perfect world where we don't have to fight each other. We are not against each other. Just love each other, accept and embrace femininity and masculinity the same way. Thank you so much, and see you very, very soon. Bye-bye, family.